I'm going to make this short video showing my support for my candidate choice for president. Going to the back area where I have the chickens and where I have my watering timer for my garden area. My chickens are in pretty poor health, but that's my fault. Anyway, I thought I'd show my watering timer system. I just got that. I have two lines coming out of there. One line goes and feeds underground towards my garden area. And from there, one line goes under all these barrels and stuff I have here. And one line is this size here, this diameter here. It's just a black irrigation line. Comes up out of the ground there, tees off. I have one going that way. I have the valve shut off there. And in this direction I have this small 1/4 inch line plugged into that. And that plugs into this 6-way, 6-port, I don't know what you call it, distributor or something, drip distributor. And then each line from there goes to bins, which end up with a little sprinkler head like this. And each sprinkler head has adjustability. You can turn it left or right to turn it on, full on, or adjust the watering, amount of watering that happens. And in this particular sprinkler head, I don't care too much for this one. It has watering and it waters well, but not as good as this one with the actual holes in each one. This one makes the water sprinkle out a little better. So I have this pan is basically 2 pans in one. Top pan holds the dirt, and there's small little holes I drilled all through that pan, and the water drips from there into this pan. And this pan has a drain underneath it. If you can see that or not. Probably can't see it. Anyway, I set this whole table up years ago. And so each one of these pots, each one of these, I have 4 of them. There's one here, chili plants, several chili plants. It's a nice chili there. This one's loaded with chilies. They're actually kind of hard to see because the leaves look the same color. And this is a tomato plant that come out of this area here. And as you can see, there's some tomatoes growing there. Little red one down there. And here's a nice one right there. But these aren't doing as well in this particular potting idea. All this is one of those concrete mixing buckets you can get at Home Depot. In the concrete area where they sell concrete, they have these tubs there. Back when I got them, they were like $8 each. And what I did is I got 2 for each planting section. The top one is full of holes. I drilled a bunch of holes in it for drainage. And the bottom one I kept full, except for one hole on the bottom, which I attached a T and a T to each one, connecting each of the lines all together. And then it flows out to my pond, which I have located over that direction. So the line goes from here straight to the pond. So the overflow water from these plants go to the pond. And what I plan to do is, I tried doing this before last year, not last year, but the last few years. I had a system where the water would flush when these got full enough, it would self-flush and then go down to the pond. I was trying to figure out a way to get water back from the pond back up to this area. Well, I never did do that. It was difficult. So I've thought it through, and when I have to fill the pond anyway. In the summertime, it evaporates. The water evaporates. A lot of plums. Lots of plums on this tree, just loaded with plums. It's crazy. And they're still good. There's still some good ones on there. They're a little low this year. I didn't prune it. I didn't what's called thinning. I didn't thin the plums on the tree, so all the plums are small. On this side, I planted my tomatoes in a little bit bigger pots, deeper pots, and they seem to be doing not too bad actually. And this big pot is the desired size of pot that I need to grow in. And this one too. That's the kind of size that I need. Instead of these 5-gallon buckets are just not big enough. But this tomato right here, these two tomatoes I grew last year, and they've regrown this year. We didn't have a hard frost. I never brought them inside. This one, of course, is dead. This one is completely dead. Okay. But this one still has some life in it. And has a little production on it, actually. But this one is here. This one, tomato, is actually from that pot over there. And of course, the bugs got to that tomato right there. But my plan didn't work out as well. My plan was to have these tomatoes drape over the top of this. And of course, I would have to pull the shade off of this one. I'm just going to get rid of this tomato here. Oh, it's in bad shape. Yeah. So my plan was to have these things grow over the top of this thing. And in that case, I would have to have the shade off of there. And the shade is what's helping those chilies and those other plants endure the super hot parts of the summer. So the next year, I'm not going to do it on the outside. I'm going to run these to come back inside, have this part on the outside maybe, and then have the inside of the vine. I just got to be around to tie these vines up inside the top, up inside there, and just let them grow all the way from here to the other side, and not do those tomatoes in there next time. And maybe I can plant some onion in there instead, or tomatillos, which they make my salsa taste so good. I've never used tomatillos before. A couple weeks ago, I decided to use tomatillos in my salsa, and man, what a difference. Made my salsa taste fantastic. So here's the chilies and tomatoes, and of course the yard is a mess. My potting mix that I used some peat moss, some bone meal, and this organic plant food 364. I know there's so many different kinds of other food I can feed my tomatoes. This is 1200 organic plant food, blood meal, which if I added a little bit more to this, even right now, would probably yield me some more tomatoes, really nice tomatoes. Give it some more food. Anyway, this is my experiment and totally trashed yard. I got all this wood for burning in the pit So it's in my way until I get it all burnt. I need to cut all that, save what's good, cut the rest. But I also have a tomato craziness over here. On this side, I use these big pots, and I never built my trellis. I was supposed to build a trellis right here to house these tomatoes, to grow these tomatoes, and I picked two good sized ones from this batch here. But it's gone wild basically. It's just kind of gone wild because I've neglected it. And so these vines should have been trellised up, trained up to a thing that I needed to put in this area. But I was too lazy and neglectful. Always on the road doing some other things. Tomato down here. But this is the results of not caring for my tomato plants. And they still are yielding some tomatoes. Not bad for not caring for them. I have a watering system for these also. I use the half-inch irrigation line, and then I just tap into it with a 1/4 inch. And the same kind of dripping sprinkler system in the pot. And it goes off daily. I think I do 5-minute watering, and make adjustments as necessary. If it's too hot and I can see they're not getting enough water, I'll just add more minutes to the watering situation. I have a beautiful hibiscus growing right here that I water it daily. And as you can see, the drip pan is completely dry. I mean, it's got a little bit of moisture in it, but it's dried out. And boy, I have a lot of work to do back here. Just have not been doing it like I should. I just neglect it. Marcelo wants nopales, which I have plenty here to pick from. Plenty here to pick from, to be a few, but they're not. I need to get back here and do this today. Anyway, there's some interesting cactus popping out of these pieces that I cut off a few weeks back. And the lemon tree has gone crazy. I need to trim it. But here's the lemons. And one turning yellow there. They'll get ripe in January, February. Some get a little sunburned. It's a little sunburn on some of these. And then this is, of course, oh, my mums. My mums are blooming. But this poor plant, I've also let it come close to death and actually let these die. Not meaning to, just neglect. Just never put a watering system to them, and the sun has killed them. Well, can't believe I'm making this video this long, showing our terrible backyard. But this is our Serenity Paradise meditation pond. I put a hula hoop in there, tied it to the edge here, tied it to one of these concrete turtles, and that's where I feed the fish. As you can see, there's pretty big sized koi and turtles in here. And the orange flowers that this plant produces have all died back. It's getting ready for winter time pretty soon. And this whole plant dies back. I trim all the stuff off of it, and then it comes back in glory. in March, April, May. And by May it starts putting forth some beautiful orange trumpet flowers. And I gotta trim all that back in the pond. These are water irises, and they bloom real beautiful in April and May, but they need to be trimmed. I trim them down to about 1 or 2 plants, and then it just goes crazy again every year. I wish I had a way to sell them, cut them back, put them in a pot, and then sell them, because they will come back even if I cut the pieces off, put them in a water bucket, and they'll grow on their own in another water scenario. And of course the petunias have really lasted because I put them in a watering system. Same kind of watering dripping system, except these I actually just put the hose directly in the pot. No, just let it drip right down into the pot. And that's how that works. Had some good grapes this year too. Oh, there's some grapes still hanging on the vine over here, the little ones. This is the second group. And if I was to cut some of these vines off and water this guy a little more, I'd have probably fatter grapes. So this grapevine I started over there by that pole over there, and you can see the vine growing up along that pole, and then I trained it to go all the way across there, all across there, and all the way over to this end. And so I have another part of the vine that I trained to come up this direction. So that's the craziness of our backyard. This is I can't remember the name of this. It's that mosquito repellent stuff. I think it starts with a C. I don't know why I could never remember the name of that stuff. Citronella. I knew it started with a C. Citronella. This is one of the only tomatoes that never germinated. I saw the stick in there. It just never came up. I planted 10 plants altogether, and 2 out of all the 10, two did not germinate. I thought that was kind of odd. I figured all of them would because I planted them all identical. I put 2 seeds in each pot, about 1 inch apart from each other. And then when it came time to cull the bad, or use the best stem, I wound up using both stems. Just planted them together. Well, that finishes my looks like election year. I hope you vote.